Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another breakdown. We are breaking down UFC 306 Noche going down this Saturday. Um, for the big cards, I got my guy behind the camera, the voice behind the camera. Introduce yourself, my guy.
What's up, man? Drew Era here. I'd just like to say congratulations to the still reigning and defending middleweight champion of the world. Because I haven't talked to y'all since. Dricus Duplessis, who finished Israel Adesanya, who allegedly to new MMA fans is the greatest striker ever. DDP made it look easy. I don't care what none of y'all say. He made it look easy. We cashed checks that night. It was a great night. It was a fun night. 305
baby.
Delivered. Dan Hooker, look, my man gave me Hangman. I rode with him on the Hangman. That was a beautiful thing. Fun card. But yeah, I just wanted to get on real quick and talk my ish and congratulate
Go right ahead.
the reigning, defending, still middleweight champion of the world. And also shout out to Bilal because I'm always shouting him out. No, I'm talking about. Let's go.
My guy Drew did call the Bilal confident in Bilal taking the belt from Leon. Right. But yes, we are breaking down the pay-per-view, so Drew's here. If you guys want Drew, maybe on the fight night cards, maybe the other cards, if you guys want him to break it down with me, let me know in the comment section, and we can definitely ask Drew if he can clear some time on the schedule.
You know I'm here for the big ones too. You know.
But before we get into UFC 306 and we break down that card, I just want to kind of give some spotlight, shine some props to some fighters, some fights on the UFC Vegas 97 card, the Burns and Brady headliner card that happened at the Apex. I usually shit on the Apex cards, but that was a pretty good fight night. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta start with that main event though. Burns and Brady, it turned out to be a really, really good fight. They equaled each other out on the ground game, and it was a striking fight. Sean Brady surprised the hell out of me on Saturday. I didn't think he was going to look that good against Gilbert Burns on the feet. I thought Gilbert Burns would put up a bit more of a fight on the feet with the striking, but I think Gilbert Burns is hitting that age, and it's rough. If you're getting touched up by Sean Brady on the feet, I know Sean Brady's growing. He's a growing fighter. The striking is coming along with the ground game. The man's looking kind of dangerous in the welterweight division. But that was a really, really great performance for Sean Brady. Ian Gary, huh?
Yeah, that was an interesting call out.
I like that.
And you know what I actually heard today that I didn't know? I guess they have the same manager, like the same business manager. So
yes,
it should be a fairly easy fight to make as long as they both agree to it. So
while Ian Gary's posting himself in the doghouse trying to get his wife back on her good side, Sean Brady's over here knocking out and putting the hands on Gilbert Burns. So I love the fight. Sean Brady's looking good, 17-1. Maybe he works his way back to get getting that loss back from Bilal, which is I think is a good fight as well. But I don't know.
I heard something interesting about that fight today too. Actually, that Burns came out afterwards publicly and said like that he quit during that fight. He said he learned a lot because Bilal made him quit in that fight, which is kind of crazy to hear a professional athlete, let alone a fighter, come out and say that somebody made him like legit quit. And then Bilal obviously goes on, and now I'm sure Sean sees that and is like, well, damn, that could have been me. It does seem like he's refocused though. He looked really dangerous. I mean, JDM is still on the mend. Yeah, so we can't get that fight because that was supposed to be, we were supposed to already have that one before, but if they can't get Ian, maybe look at that fight down the road. But yeah, Gilbert Burns, job well done, my guy. It's official.
It's been a great career, my guy.
Like his last three, he's lost to Bilal, JDM, and Sean Brady. If you're not at this point, if it's not gatekeeper status, I don't know what is. You're just the last guy before a top 5 to 3 opponent or a title shot, essentially, at this point.
For sure. And he was beating JDM in that fight too until JDM landed a good shot. And I don't know. Yeah, Gilbert Burns hitting that age, but I think he can still give hell to a lot of the fighters.
Absolutely.
Who are ranked behind him trying to get into that top 5. So I wanted to highlight Natalia Silva, her performance against Jessica Andrade. Silva looked great. Women's flyweight division might have another contender for Alexa Grasso here. And if they dare to run a 4th fight between Shevchenko and Grasso after UFC 306, I will jump off the top of a 7-Eleven building.
We'll get there later.
Steve Garcia, Kyle Nelson, that shit broke my parlay. I was about to hit $800 out of 30. My over that was the fight that killed my over parlay, and I slapped myself in the face. God damn it, Steve Garcia. So Kyle Nelson got the takedown, and I was like, yes, take this to the second round.
Yeah.
And Steve Garcia reversed and hit him with an elbows. And Kyle Nelson just kind of rolled over and just gave up. So that shit killed me, bro. Cody Durden stepping in on short notice against Matt Schnell, and Matt Schnell looks like he retired. Didn't even give any mic time. So sorry, Matt Schnell, that happened to you. But Bisping didn't give him the mic to make any final announcements. But Cody Durden stepped in on 3 days short notice and pulled off that. And then last but not least, I just want to give some shout out to the only underdog that I got right that no one else was really even on was Chris Padilla. My guy. Thank you so much.
Doctor stoppage.
Yeah, nasty elbow. Kind of I think he broke the eye.
Yeah.
It was disgusting.
It was going around I saw on Twitter, it was going around the viral photo of it, which it wasn't, he even said I heard it. He said when he dropped that elbow on him, he goes, I heard it crush. Yeah, that was nasty. It was real nasty.
I went 8-4 for the picks for UFC Vegas 97. I got out of my 4 underdog picks, I got 3 wrong and 1 right, which was Padilla. But I can't lie, man. It was a great card. But we can jump into UFC 306 now. And it has a new title in this. How you say that again?
Riyadh Airlines.
So weird.
Riyadh season, NOCHE UFC. It's supposed to be a celebration of Mexican Independence Day, Mexican fighting, but it's sponsored by a Saudi airline.
Why?
Because Dana. That's why, man. You know that. Same reason we have events over there all the time. And have the
he loves those guys.
God. Oh boy. Yeah, so they're the ones fronting. Essentially, what I think it is they're the ones fronting the bill to hold it at the Sphere.
For as much money that Dana has really put into this event, millions of dollars. That's probably why there's only 10 fights on this card, because Dana has put so much money into this card. People don't want to fund this fight or this fight card anymore. But there's been millions of dollars put into the production of the show. Yeah. And that's probably why there's 10 fights, because Dana doesn't want to pay so many fighters.
So I'm reading here, it says that a regular pay-per-view show is usually in the neighborhood of $2 million to throw. This is over $20 million.
And Dana alone has given $9 million of his own money to produce the show. So
he's making a movie, man.
And so with all the talk that Dana has, given this card, the card itself, the fight itself, I think it's a fun card, but for you to give up so much hype of this card and you to give us this card, shit, man. I don't really like it, but
so that's what I actually came over here. That was the main thing I wanted to ask you tonight, was this whole lead up to this fight card has been, honestly, it's been more about the venue than it's been about the fight card. And I wasn't sure if that was a Sphere thing, if it was a fight card thing, if it's a combination of both. I haven't seen a lot of people bringing a lot of positive commentary to this fight card. Personally, I there are the top 3 fights. Those are the main ones.
Just carrying the
For
hell out
me,
of it.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, is this a situation where maybe the fight card that you just watched last weekend might, as far as the actual fights go, because I don't doubt that Dana's going to make it like a crazy show in production, and it's going to look nuts, I'm sure. But everyone's going to be watching Canelo, man. Everybody in town, they're already getting in. They're going to watch Canelo, and that's one fight. Like I could, man, I'll pay you $1 million. Couldn't nobody name anybody else fighting on that Canelo card. Like,
Yeah,
but they're not showing up for this one either.
no. And it shows when you look up the seating chart for this card. There's a lot of empty seats. Even last week, leading into this week, there were still a lot of empty seats because these seat prices are just ridiculous. I mean, $13,000 for a ticket to be kind of near the cage, which is insane. And then they drop the prices for the nosebleeds to what, $900?
So yeah, $900 for this card.
For
Though.
this card.
You know what I mean? Like Dana's trying to disguise it. It feels like they're trying to disguise it with, because there's 2 title fights.
So Dana's really hoping that every Mexican fighter on this card just fights to the death.
Finishes, and bloody finishes.
Every single of these fights, every single one of these fights is like the fight of the goddamn century. This is what Dana's hoping for.
He needs it.
He needs it. He needs this card to be talked about a week after. Because, like, okay, there's some good matchups here, but that game, the name value is just not there. Brandon Moreno scheduled to fight in October, which, come on, man, you're a month away, so I don't know what happened with that. And I think what could have maybe got the views off the boxing and maybe onto this card is if they had it in Mexico instead of Las Vegas.
That was such a weird, because Canelo fights here every year too. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'll look it up. I don't know how many years in a row Canelo has fought here on Mexican Independence Day. Like that's a given here. So for Dana to do that and try to make it like his crap, why wouldn't you do the Sphere for like 300 or
that's exactly
350 or 400, or like make it one of the big rounded card numbers or something? Like, I understand it, but yeah, if you wanted to celebrate Mexico, why aren't you in Mexico?
And they just built a UFC Performance Institute in Mexico this year that they just opened up. Why aren't you going there? Those seats would have filled probably. Those people would have worked their asses off.
Would be crazy.
To be there, bro. Even without a Brandon Moreno on this card, that card would have been great there. But you wanted to bring it here, compete with boxing. I know boxing is kind of like a gimmick now, but there's still these big names in boxing in the sport that will just crush your event, bro.
Especially like Canelo, a Mexican from Mexico on Mexican Independence Day.
You think Grasso's pulling those fans away?
Like, come on. I'm sorry, and I love O'Malley, and we'll get into it more later, but he's not enough.
No, man.
He's not enough. You need a Jones or who else at this point?
So Mexico is they're starving for some star power. The personalities are not there, but they got the fighting style.
Bring me
right?
Cain Velasquez back.
But yeah, I think with Brandon Moreno losing his belt and his kind of 15 minutes of fame kind of leaving, thanks to Figgy. I think Mexico's kind of starving for that personality and that star. So
Yair dropped the ball.
Yair, yes.
Like he looked like he could be that. He popped off he was that.
Now something can be born here if Diego Lopes can pull off beating a strong Ortega who looks focused this week, who looks happy, who looks healthy in this weight cut. But we'll get into it, man. Talking about that card or talking about that fight and Brian Ortega, I just kind of want you to get into this card because I kind of have a pick for this that kind of swayed me late.
Real quick on the Mexican fighters, it's you know what the issue is, and not that it's an issue, so don't come at me. But the majority of your best Mexican fighters at this point in time are women.
Mm.
It's majority women. It's Grasso, it's Aldana, Aguilar, Loopy. Like, like they're I know you like that one, but it's mainly the women. And let's be real, it's hard to carry, it's hard for women to carry a card in the UFC, especially a pay-per-view, let alone against Canelo. But
Yeah.
let's get into it.
So let's start with the first fight of the night. We have the young man, the 19-year-old Raul Rosas Jr. versus Aoriqileng. Rosas Jr. is a minus 1,000 favorite. Holy crap, rightfully so. Aoriqileng, he's okay everywhere, but not good enough to beat a 19-year-old kid who looks to be just packing on muscle like crazy. But Aoriqileng has terrible takedown defense, and that kind of just plays into Rosas Jr. taking this fight to the ground and just kind of having his way on the ground with Aoriqileng. I think the 19-year-old kid is going to destroy Aoriqileng. Now, if he doesn't get the takedowns, the striking fight can be worrisome. But again, Aoriqileng is. I'm not impressed with Aoriqileng. I just think this is Rosas Jr.'s fight to lose right now. So, yeah, give me Rosas Jr. for the first round submission. Just like that.
It's we talked about it real quick. It's Dana sees something in the kid, man.
He does.
So he's kind of giving him cans and taking him slowly and doing it right. And again, yeah, the kid's 19, man. Like he's a kid.
And he just said that he wants to retire at 25.
Yikes. Well, I mean,
I don't know what kind of money you're making in this UFC, but hopefully you fight.
I mean, he's out at Broadacre swap meet, so clearly he ain't making
brother,
crazy money yet.
You have to fight about 5 times a year, be on that Kevin Holland 2020 schedule for you to kind of make something here.
Man, you 19. Like, if there's a time to do it now. Like, quick turnarounds, and as long as they keep feeding him the cans, they can give him these quick turnarounds and keep letting him showcase and kind of build up while working on his craft. So
for sure. Next fight, we have Edgar Chairez versus Joshua Van. So Joshua Van taking this fight on like 2 weeks short notice. It could be worse. It could be a few days before the fight, but I don't mind the 2 weeks. I know people are very low on Joshua Van coming into this fight. He is the favorite. I think the odds are kind of crazy to me. Joshua Van just fought like 2 months ago. He got knocked out in his last fight 2 months ago. So I know people are a bit worried for the quick comeback for Joshua Van. But again, Joshua Van looks kind of like a grown man, but he's only 22 years old. I think with him having the youth, he kind of heals a little bit quicker. I think he's ready to go back in and right those wrongs that he just got knocked out. And the boxing and the pressure forward fighting of Joshua Van is a lot to handle. I had him winning. I had it 1-1 going into the third round in Joshua Van's last fight against Energy Charles Johnson. And Joshua Van was kind of winning that third round. And then Charles Johnson kind of flipped the switch and he kind of went ballistic and caught Joshua Van with a clean uppercut. Again, the knockout is scary for Joshua Van, but I think he has the boxing and the striking to kind of put a pace on Edgar Chairez. And I think what Chairez he doesn't have what compared to Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson is very elusive, light on the feet, moves around a lot. But I think Edgar Chairez he's very stationary, kind of there to be hit. So again, I think this is a good stylistic matchup for Joshua Van to kind of take on a short notice. Yes, the reach is in favor of Chairez, yes, but with the striking and the boxing of Joshua Van, I don't really think the reach advantage for Chairez is that daunting and scary. Now, if this fight hits the ground, Chairez could get nasty and lock up submission. Joshua Van, he can hold his own on the ground. He does have some submission wins, but kind of like Chuck Liddell back in the day. Chuck Liddell had like the wrestling, didn't really use it, but I think he just used it for a defensive tactic.
Yeah, that's
Mostly.
exactly it. Yeah.
And let his hands talk, kind of like how Joshua Van does. He will use the grappling when he needs to, but he wants to strike you up and box your head off. But Joshua Van just has some nasty, dangerous, want to rip your head off intent with strikes. I'm going to take the favorite here. I'm going to take the short notice fighter here. I'm going to take Joshua Van. I think the pace is going to build up, and I think it's going to be a lot for Edgar Chairez here. So, man, I'm going to go Joshua Van. The minus 235 favor for Joshua Van on short notice is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I was just looking. It's up to, depending on who you know, what app you use. You can get anywhere from 220 to 250.
That's insane. It shouldn't be higher than a minus 150 to me. That's just very disrespectful. But again, I think they just see the talent for Joshua Van, and yeah, I'm gonna take the boxing and the pressure and the forward pressure of Van here to kind of create problems for Edgar Chairez. So yeah, I don't think this is a bettable line here. I would say look at maybe fight goes the distance for betting. Joshua Van, yeah, he has finishes, but in the UFC, he's been very heavy on the decisions. So maybe Van by decision is the way to go. Or if you want to lean the dog, just money line it, or look at a submission prop for Edgar Chairez, I think is the way to go.
Maybe throw him in on something you feel more like, throw him in on a ticket you feel more confident about, to juice it up a little bit more, even, you know?
Yeah. Next fight, we have a women's fight. I'm excited for it. I'm basically just more excited for Yasmin Jauregui here, going against Caitlin Souza. Yasmin is very, very talented prospect here in the women's strawweight division. I do wonder if Yasmin is going to move up a weight class. I think this cut to 115 is a bit tough on her. Maybe a few more years, I think she kind of moves up to a flyweight. But she's a very talented prospect. Yeah, she has been knocked down, and she did get knocked out. I think like 2 fights ago, maybe to
20 seconds in against
Gomes.
Yeah, Gomes at 290.
And yeah, Yasmin was just fighting reckless in there, and you can't do that with Denise Gomes like that. But the striking is nice, the kickboxing is nice, the hands are there. I know people are worried in this fight just from the being on Twitter and stuff like that about Caitlin Souza's power. What gives me faith in Yasmin Jauregui to win this fight is Caitlin Souza fought Marnique McMahon in her last fight, went to decision with McMahon, and I think McMahon is not even a UFC worthy fighter, and went to decision with her. So, and McMahon kind of landed some strikes on her too. So that kind of gives me more faith in the more precision, the precise striker here, the cleaner hands. And I think Yasmin's going to be a little bit faster, a little bit too fast for Caitlin Souza here. Again, I think this line is wide too, but I think rightfully so. Yasmin is the favorite here. And finish. How does Yasmin finish this fight? I think I'm gonna take her by decision here. I think she's gonna look like a 30-27 type fighter here. Performance for Yasmin Jauregui. And yeah.
Betting public agrees. Over 2.5 is minus 300. Like on the rounds. Which, I mean, and yeah, you're looking at a like 5-1 favorite. Yeah. In Yasmin. So yeah.
Nasty stuff.
Overwhelming nasty favorite.
What a nasty line. Next fight. Probably one of my favorite fights on this card. we have Manuel Torres versus Ignacio Bahamondes. One of my favorite names to say.
That was well done.
So I've had some good luck on guessing Ignacio Bahamondes' fights. I faded Bahamondes when he fought Ludwig Klein, and Klein was an underdog in that fight, and I made money off that fight too. And I'm kind of leaning towards that fight to kind of sway me in this fight. How Ludwig Klein fought Bahamondes in that fight with being the more overall pressure fighter and taking away the distance and the reach of Bahamondes, because Bahamondes is a very, very tall, lanky 155er. But he's there to be hit, and I don't think he can really use or just has the smarts to use his reach. So I am leaning the slight favorite here. I see it as a minus 120. I'm leaning Manuel Torres here to beat Ignacio Bahamondes. I think Torres has more of the overall tools to kind of win this fight anywhere it goes, on the ground or on the feet. Yes, Bahamondes is lengthy. He has the kicks. He uses the teep kicks to the body. But Bahamondes doesn't. I don't have confidence in Bahamondes and his skill set to kind of go against the Torres, who has finished his fights in the first round. I think he's on a win streak of knocking people out and finishing his opponents with knockouts and subs. So I think Manuel Torres is nasty, man. I don't know where this line opened up as, but if you guys got Torres maybe at a underdog, if that opened up like that, but
it looks like it's pretty much been like even money
Yeah.
across the board. It still is for the most part. I know that I know BetMGM and Caesar are the only, well, and FanDuel as well, have Bahamondes as a plus money, plus 105, plus 100. So it's still kind of, pretty much a pick 'em.
And I think this is a great money line, just odds on Manuel Torres. Again, I just think he has the better overall skill set to beat Ignacio Bahamondes here. So give me Torres by second round submission.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm feeling it, man. Minus 120. I think you can just parlay Torres with like one of the main fights, because those money lines the lines are close too. So yeah, let's move to the next fight. The featured prelim for this card, we have on the women's bantamweight division, we have Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. Again, another even fight, as the betting lines say. But if you guys know me, I don't look at the betting lines, and it doesn't sway me in my prediction in this fight. I go off skill set and what I see skill wise, and then I look at the lines second. So something that annoys me about Norma Dumont is she knows, bro. She has IQ. She knows how to win the fight, bro. She knows how to win the fight. And it may be boring. Sometimes it is boring, but she's very aware of just the IQ of just knowing how to win the fight. She does a lot of, so she's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, BJJ, but she doesn't, when she gets the fight to the ground, she just holds her opponents there and just kind of lays in praise and just looks like she's kind of working. And so the refs don't pull them up and like get them up off the ground.
It's a very old school welterweight type of style of fighting.
Just annoying. But Norma Dumont's really good at like just being aware of the fight and just winning these fights, especially when they go to decision. It's hard for Norma Dumont to lose these decisions because she's just look like she's being the more active fighter wherever this fight goes, in the clinch against the cage or on the ground. She's having that control time. Now, with her fighting Irene Aldana, who the boxing is just nasty, the hands are nasty. Her and Grasso just cut from the same cloth as far as the boxing goes. But Irene Aldana is there to be taken down. even when Irene Aldana is taken down, she does fight off her back. She's throwing elbows, but how much are those strikes swaying the judge's mind of, oh yeah, she's on her back is on the ground, but I don't know. She's doing a lot of. She's being the more active fighter off her back, but I don't think judges really care about that shit. To be honest with you, I think they really just look at who's on top, control time, and they don't really care about the defensive fighter on their back trying to get up or throwing strikes out their back. That's just me. That's just me. What I see. That's what I see.
But I was gonna say, it's like you mentioned earlier. I mean, who knows? Who knows anymore what the hell the refs are looking at and watching in these fights? Like some of the decisions that, or not even the decisions that we've gotten, even when we get the deeper looks that they'll show the scorecards after fights when we're like, wait, what?
It's
he
all
gave
over
that
place.
round to hit, like what? So yeah, you never know. Like it might be. I might be looking at Dumont and saying, "Oh man, she controlled the whole time. She got the takedown, which is point, and she controlled the whole time." Whereas you're looking like, "Yeah, she got the takedown, but then she didn't do anything." And Irina's in there throwing up from the bottom while she's just trying to maintain control. So she's not really doing it. So you never know.
Like damage doesn't matter when you're on fighting from the back. Like
exactly. Like what? So
damage just goes out the window when someone's trying to.
That's ridiculous.
Again, 30-27 tied to Ivasa, guys.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, what are these judges really looking at nowadays? Who knows? That card haunts me forever. I don't know.
That was one of the wildest scorecards. Like
I was like, what? Oh, great. Brother. Again, Irene Aldana, she is going to do the more damage on the feet. Norma Dumont doesn't want that smoke on the feet with the boxing of Irene Aldana. And Aldana is down to throw and bang, but Norma Dumont's going to wrap her up, get her against the cage. But even against the clinch, I like the taller fighter here in the knees and the clinch game of Irene Aldana to kind of just make it more violent. And I can see Dumont really, like I said, getting this fight to the ground and just holding Irene Aldana here, because Dumont just can't handle the volume of hits and punches that she's being hit with.
I mean, let's be honest. That's if we're being real, and if you're in her corner, if you're her coach leading up to this fight, isn't that what you're telling her?
Yes.
Hey, get this thing to the ground. Keep it as tight as you can when we're on the ground. You know, throw your little damage or whatever, throw your little hit, but yeah, don't strike with this girl. Are you crazy?
So I want to pick Aldana here. And I think the betting side, if I were to bet on this fight, I would bet on Norma Dumont. But
hey man, you ain't got to pick Aldana because I'll pick her for you, man. Irene Aldana Robles, let's go.
I'm gonna say F it, bro, and I'm gonna go Mexico here. I'm gonna go Irene Aldana just to land the nastier strikes that hopefully sting and look more damaging. I think Norma Dumont's gonna wear it on her face. Damn, I hate. I don't know. Like I said, Norma Dumont's so crafty in winning these close fights, but give me Irene Aldana to win by split decision here.
Let's go.
If I'm gonna take my girl in the co-main, I gotta take her friend too. So
Lobo Jim, come on, man, you got to, bruh.
Oh man,
Irene Aldana Robles.
To open up UFC 306, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez versus O'Day Osbourne. Let me tell you guys something. O'Day Osbourne is very unpredictable to me. It's very hard for me to get a read on O'Day. Just when I think he's about to kind of go on a run here, or he's coming off a really fantastic performance, this man just looks like he hasn't been training and just kind of gets wiped up. And it's very annoying. O'Day Osbourne annoys me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Like against Tyson Nam, this man threw a flying knee. I don't think he was even in range, and Tyson Nam lands an overhand right and knocks this man out. Brother, what are we doing here? So again, IQ questions come into play when I'm watching the O'Day Osbourne fight and I picked him to win a fight. I just don't have faith in O'Day Osbourne, okay? The man's stressful. He stresses me out. So, again, I don't know what I'm going to get from O'Day Osbourne. He's coming off 2 submission losses.
Brother, he's lost 3 out of 4 by finish, and his win is by a split decision.
And then, again, his last win is against Charles Johnson, which is aging beautifully right now. So, like, I don't know, man. What are we really doing here? We got Eddie Gordo here and O'Day Osbourne, who I just don't know. I don't feel comfortable ever in watching a fight from O'Day. So, and we got this bulldog over here. If you look at Ronaldo Rodriguez's face, the man looks like a freaking pit bull, bro. So I have to look at something. I have to look at the last 5 fights from Rodriguez real quick. Sub, TKO, sub, split, unanimous. Give me Mexico here. I don't ever feel comfortable backing the O'Day Osbourne, Eddie Gordo here. I'm taking Ronaldo Rodriguez minus 140.
The lazy boy.
Yeah, man. Give me Rodriguez here, brother. For the people, Rodriguez finishes O'Day Osbourne. I don't know how, but he is getting a finish.
I mean, if you look at Osbourne's recent fight, I mean, he's. How do you lose by rear naked choke in back-to-back fights? How does that even happen? Like you said, fighter IQ, man. Yeah, take your pick. Because, man, boy, O'Day Osbourne, he's finished a lot. So,
take your pick.
Like, if he's going to lose, it's probably going to be by, like, he has 7 losses. He's lost 1 by decision. He's got slept twice and submitted 4 times. So take your pick on how O'Day Osbourne's going to lose this fight, and you're probably going to make some money.
Yeah, 12-7 for O'Day Osbourne. I just can't back the guy. So, if you guys want to take the under 2.5, which is minus 140 as well, or minus something, but the money line for that is nice as well. Take the under. Take the fight, doesn't go the distance. I don't know. Look at those props.
If you got Rodriguez by sub is plus 300 on Caesars, by knockout or by finish TKO or DQ is plus 350. I mean, those are juicy numbers.
Yeah. Give me Mexico. Mexico wins again. Next fight we have Daniel Zellhuber versus Esteban Ribovics. So another thing about these guys. So both of these guys I have a pretty good gauge on, and I've got them right on almost all their fights in the UFC. Daniel Zellhuber is someone I have a good read on a lot. Looks like UFC really likes him as a young prospect. The kid's only 25 years old. Promising prospect here, 15-1. The striking is okay, but this man does get hit a lot. And with how Esteban Ribovics fights, this man's kind of nasty, bro. Again, it's hard to pick any one of these fighters when you have a good read on both. But God damn it, give me Argentina. Give me Esteban Ribovics as the underdog pick. I think this kid is nasty. I think he's going to take away the reach, and he goes hunting for blood. I think Daniel Zellhuber really likes to be the more patient fighter, fights on the outside. Yes, the striking is there, but I think Ribovics is just going to come for that guy's head, and I think he's just a killer, bro. Esteban Ribovics is nasty. I think he's kind of being slept on in this fight. I'm not going to lie to you. I get the prospect and Daniel Zellhuber. I get it. But, man, Ribovics is being slept on. I'm going to go the plus 190 underdog. Give me Argentina. Give me Ribovics to win by TKO.
Yo, you get plus 525 on Caesars on the line with that.
That's crazy.
Rebovics by knockout. So look, man. I know a lot of people like they give the bets out and stuff, and they don't, do the KOTD and put their money where their mouth is. For one, I know you put your money where your mouth is. I put my money where you tell me to. I was gonna say put my money where your mouth is, but that's crazy. But even off camera, that's crazy.
I'm gonna have to edit.
But your conviction right there, and so Zellhuber, I told you that I've been watching the embedded so far, and they have been featuring him. So I agree with you that the UFC they see something in him. I love seeing a hype train come to a halt, especially by just a nasty knockout. I'm not taking Rebovics on the money line. I'm laying my money on that plus 525 now. I'm going head hunting with him.
Yeah, and again, who hasn't knocked out Terrence McKinney? I get it. He's coming off a knockout, finished Terrence McKinney in 37 seconds. I get that's not very impressive. But I don't know, man. It's the boxing, it's the hands that I've seen. And he trains at Kill Cliff FC, which I like the gym. I think Zellhuber is there to kind of survive a bit instead of finish the fight. I think Rebovics is there to rip your head off.
Well, that's the thing. Like Zellhuber, he's a big 55er, right? But Rebovics isn't a small 55er. He's like 2 inches shorter. Like there's not as big a gap as you'd normally see with a 6'1", 155er, like how we're used to, coming up a bunch of 5'7", 5'8" guys. Nah, they both got some decent size.
And something that kind of sways me in this as well, that adds a factor to it, is Zellhuber losing to Trey Ogden and Lando Venata having success landing strikes on Zellhuber. Yes, Lando Venata, he can be elusive, yes, but I think if Lando is kind of having success landing some strikes on you, I think a guy like Rebovics can have that same, but he has the power to put you out. Both of these guys are very durable, but I'm gonna take. Again, I may be jumping the gun here, but I'm going to take Rebovics to get the TKO knockout win here over someone who is durable, but I don't think Zellhuber has fought anyone who has the power that Esteban Rebovics has. So give me Argentina, give me my underdog, and yeah, man. Okay. We are here, guys. This fight has been rebooked. Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. I think Drew's going to be pretty surprised here. I was coming into this video and this breakdown heavily on the Diego Lopes here, but I'm seeing a really happy, someone who's enjoying the weight cut, someone who is just having the smile on his face, and it kind of worries me that he is kind of happy, and not in a bad way, but I'm worried for Diego Lopes here. I'm seeing Ortega who is having a good weight cut, having a good fight week, and I think he is a very, very scary individual here. I think we both took Diego Lopes. Maybe I took Diego Lopes when this fight was booked the first time. And maybe Diego Lopes could be coming in here pissed off with how things went the first fight. With Brian Ortega, couldn't make 145, and then asking Diego Lopes days before the fight to make the weight change to like 155 or something like that. Diego making that weight change, and then Brian Ortega just completely falling out of the fight. And then Dan Ige had to step into the fight literally hours before that fight was supposed to happen. So Diego Lopes could be carrying that anger and that hate in his heart into this fight, but skill for skill, right? Both of these guys are very nasty. BJJ on the ground. Brian T. City, the triangles are disgusting. The submission, we all know that. Diego Lopes has been talked about to be nasty on the ground as well. The submissions are nasty. So I don't think we are going to see the ground game here unless it's a finish. So it comes to the striking, and again, Diego Lopes has that power. He knocked out Sadiq Youssef, which is really really impressive to me. But ever since Brian Ortega came back against Korean Zombie about 2021, maybe about 3 years ago, this man,
2020. Yep.
yeah, this man came back looking improved, impressive with the striking as well, and it's only getting better. And the way he beat, well, I could be mixing things up here, but the way he finish Yair Rodriguez,
He finished it with the choke, the arm triangle choke.
and I think he could have been outstriking Yair Rodriguez as well in that fight. But again, I'm just saying that Ortega has been evolving the striking game, and it's matching the ground game as well. So, and he's durable. I mean, this guy, yeah, he gets laughed on by being the punching bag of Max Holloway. I get it, but the chin is still holding up. He's still a fighter. He's still a dog. Um, it's hard for me to see plus 150 and kind of back away from it. Underdog like Brian Ortega, and kind of see how happy he is this fight week.
Yes.
Again, and then in Diego Lopez last fight with him getting the opponent change hours before the fight against Dan Ige.
And moving up, like all the weight fluctuating that whole time too, between like all that, like that was a lot.
Which I get, and it plays into a factor too. Him dying out in the third round, Diego Lopez against Dan Ige. Yeah, he had a tough time, kind of the cardio in the third round, and Dan Ige came on strong in that third round, almost making that fight very interesting and stealing that round in the third. But him not finishing Dan Ige, who just stepped in on 2 hours.
Yeah, legit.
It kind of worries me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I know all the factors that play into that fight and what happened that day, but I don't know, man. I'm gonna lean Brian Ortega to get the upset here and kill the hype train of Diego Lopez.
My guy.
I know Brian Ortega was talking about going to 155. And I was a bit worried about this fight getting rebooked and kind of just seeing how Brian Ortega would be, his mood and everything. But just from what I've seen in the interviews, the UFC media people posting their clips of interviews with the fighters, this man is happy. He's smiling. He looks healthy. I'm going to take the underdog here. I'm going to take a shot on the underdog with Brian Ortega, probably getting his last win at 145 and moving up to 155. This is just going to be a hard lesson for Diego Lopez and him getting his first loss in the UFC.
I'm with you. People forget that Ortega has fought the best of the best. He's fought for the belt twice. He lost to the two greatest featherweights ever. You mentioned the Max fight. That was the doctor stoppage in the fourth. No shame in that. People went out to Max way quicker than that. The Volkanovski fight, that again, he should have won. He should have, if he could have finished that choke. Yeah. This kind of reminds me of, for some reason, it feels like the UFC wants to get him out of here.
Oh,
Ortega. Like, not like anything, but like they want him to, like, almost like, hey, buddy, Gilbert Burns gets it. You're not following suit. I think they tried to set him up with Yair. I think they really wanted Yair to win that fight, become the big Mexican superstar, go forward at featherweight and stuff again. And he smoked Yair.
That win was impressive.
That was shocking to me. And I like Ortega. That was crazy. That was,
and this is a Yair who is like he was working his way back to the belt and like looking serious too.
I think this is the same thing with Lopes. I think Dana has a little bit of a kind of hard on for Lopes for whatever reason. And it's not that he's not a good fighter. I like Lopes. I say all that too, and I actually like Lopes. I think he's a great talent. I like his attitude. He always seems like very positive and upbeat. Like, I dig that. To your point, I was watching Ortega this week too so far. My man looks great. He looks very relaxed. He sounds confident. I didn't realize there was someone out there that enjoyed playing Fortnite as much as I do, like he does. The 55 move is interesting to me, especially considering he's still the 3rd ranked featherweight in the world. And I mean, Volkanovski, well, let's be real. His contending days they should be behind him. Hopefully they're behind him. No disrespect, but like it's time. Ortega could be like right there for a title shot at 45, depending on how this Ilya and Max fight goes. 55 is a dangerous place, man.
Especially going in there at 33 years old. I know he doesn't have a ton of like pro experience. Ortega does, but he does have those miles. Like his losses have been battles and just him getting his ass whooped, and like him doesn't, you know.
I mean, the 2 title fights, going 9 rounds. I mean, that's 3 fights in itself right there, essentially. You know, like he's got miles, like you said.
If he's if he's fighting anyone but Volkanovski in that fight, if anyone else is holding the belt, I think they tap.
Oh my gosh!
Like, I don't know if you guys know how deep that submission was. If that's not Volkanovski, that person taps, bro. Just Volk that was prime Volk, who was just an absolute animal. And Ortega was this close to becoming a champion. And who would have known where this division would have
been? Like, and just legacies and all that. Like, but I think he derails another attempt at Dana trying to push a 45er up the ladder. I think Ortega shows him that there are levels. I think he does it over the full 15 minutes. I don't see a finish. If I do, I imagine it'd be some kind of, he's gonna pull off something real slick if he pulls off a finish here like he normally does.
So the last time that the UFC gave Lopes this push was against, his UFC debut against Evelev.
Yeah, which
was a fantastic showing, right?
Yeah.
But he lost.
Yep.
He got out scrambled. He kind of just got outclassed. Yes, that was a year ago. I mean, I know you learn and gain knowledge off losses, but you go back to beating Gavin Tucker. I don't give anything in that win. You beat Sabatini, which is impressive, but you knock him out, which is okay. That's the way to. You do knock out Sadiq Youssef, which is impressive, and then you get Dan Ige, and now you're giving this another push and Brian Ortega, which I think is huge. From Youssef, Ige, and then to Ortega is a huge jump in talent and rankings, and I don't think he's ready for it.
And let's talk about this too. That all full disclosure, even looking at his UFC career so far, I even overlooked the fact that it just started a year ago.
This man's working, man.
This is this man's 6th fight in what?
Year and a half, maybe?
16 months. 16 months. This is his 6th fight, and he's coming off of fighting at the end of June at 165 pounds, and now
Mhm.
dropping those 20, and he looked sluggish, and he looked like you've mentioned already. I this all feels set up to go really well for Brian Ortega. Maybe not even. I hope it's not an exposure. I hope it's not one of those where we're left after the fight being like, wait a minute, was he like, is Lopez for real? I don't think it will be that either. I think Lopez is a really good fighter.
Absolutely.
I just think there's levels, and maybe he's still a fight or two away from taking on the number 3 ranked, 2-time title challenging, could be featherweight champion Brian Ortega. So I'm with you. Give me Ortega. I like him by decision. I
Yep.
like it to I imagine it honestly. I see this as probably the fight of the night. It's the people's main event. That's what it's been being billed as online and in interviews and podcasts I'm listening to. They say this is the people's main event. I think it will be fight of the night. But give me T City.
And again, his chin hasn't given me a reason to fade Ortega. He still can take a shot. Again, I don't know what kind of power Diego Lopez has, but I'm gonna bet on the durability and the chin of Brian Ortega and the striking game and the more patient fighter.
Well, I was gonna say, let's be smart. Let's be real here too. Like Ortega's a smart fighter.
He is. I
Like
think
he's not gonna put himself in too many situations to get touched like that by Lopez's potential power.
And again, in the third rounds, when Lopez has reached the third rounds, he doesn't look good. So I think Ortega has that third round in the bag if it does go that route.
Drag him into deep
And
water.
yeah, give me the underdog. I
Let's
think
go.
this is a great price for Brian Ortega, man. So
Big facts.
give me the underdog here, and let's move to the co-main event.
Ooh,
I like the underdog pick, man, with Ortega.
yeah.
Co-main, the women's flyweight title fight. We have Alexa Grasso, my girl, defending her belts against the Bullets, Valentina Shevchenko. So the first fight, Alexa Grasso shocked the world, or shocked the hell out of me. Even though I picked Grasso in that first fight, to see it like that unfold, by her submitting the champ and Valentina.
Off of Valentina
Shocked.
going for some goofy stuff too.
Why would you do a spinning kick?
Spinning back kick off some goofy stuff?
It was a great capitalization of Grasso and take the back and just lock that shit up. So Grasso got that win, and Grasso was losing that fight 2-1 heading into the fourth, I think. And Valentina looked sharp in that fight. She was kind of outclassing Grasso kind of everywhere, being a step ahead, being faster. And then the second fight rolls around, and again, judging, I don't know what the hell the judges were thinking.
That 10-8.
I had it 2-2 going into the fifth, and I did lean Shevchenko to get that win. I know Grasso ended the round a bit better, but I thought Valentina had the moments that kind of swayed me. I haven't watched that fight in a while, so pardon me if I'd gotten wrong, but screw you in your opinion. So I had Valentina winning 3-2 in that fight, barely, and then you could argue. But they called it a draw because a judge scored it a 10-8 for Grasso to win that.
Same judge that scored Tuivasa
30-27, guys. 30-27. Which is just insane. And again, Grasso had the moments of knocking Valentina down in that fight, in the second fight. But again, the takedowns for Valentina were just there, and Grasso still has a tough time defending takedowns. But Shevchenko still wants to strike, and she thinks she's still that prime kickboxer, which she is. The skill's still there. But the age, and 36 and almost 37 years old, it's almost like she's trying to prove that she still has it. But the young lions in the sport and in this women's flyweight division are kind of catching up to her speed. And she's still a great athlete, but I think just the talents and just the overall evolution of women's fighters are just kind of just going up so much, and they're growing so fast. and the speed of the fight and the division is catching up to Valentina. The boxing of Grasso is still nasty, obviously, and in these fights, Grasso has landed on Valentina. Again, in that first fight, in the first round, she caught Valentina as well, and in the second fight, she knocked Valentina down. So I don't know just how durable the chin is going to be as Valentina kind of gets older and almost 37 years old. But it's a takedown defense of Grasso that kind of worries me here. But it looks like Grasso has enough to get to her feet, and she showed it in these 2 fights with Valentina. She can get to her feet, get up, and go at it again on striking. So give me the champ to maintain her belt, stay the champ, and still give me Alexa Grasso to win by knockout.
Karen Alexa Grasso Montez.
I'm taking
by knockout.
I'm gonna take the finish. I think this is going to
Jalisco stand up.
I'm reaching for this one, all right, guys. I'm reaching.
That was a reach.
Reach God. I'm taking Alexa Grasso to win by knockout.
I don't really see. I don't.
It's a reach.
Is it, or is just the knockout part the reach?
I think the knockout part's a reach, but again, she knocked Valentina down in the second fight. Yeah. You know, it could happen again. Grasso has had successful exchanges on the feet with Valentina. Maybe this is the fight where Valentina just kind of gives out and Grasso kind of jumps on the opportunity and just lands the ground and pound and gets this fight out of here.
Official passing of the torch.
Holy moly. See the bullet go out like this.
What I'm curious about is how quickly will your head explode if Shevchenko wins by a split decision?
Oh my God.
Because then it's like, okay, well,
so
do we run it back a 4th time now?
So to bring it back down to reality, okay, no more reaching. This fight, I have it split either way, split decision either way. That's my
and full disclosure. That's why I'm not speaking on it because I have no, I can't call it.
That is my reality pick right there, guys.
Either way, like if you came out and you do the pod Friday and you say, yeah, I think Shevchenko's gonna win by knockout. I mean, yeah, cool. If you tell me Saturday as they are being announced and I'm on the app like I am, and you say, hey man, I do like Grasso by knockout. Look it. I have the fight. So the fight I'm looking forward to the most is the fight we just covered. The fight that I'm most curious about is this fight.
Absolutely.
Because it's the fight on the card that I have no earthly idea what's going to happen. And also probably wouldn't be shocked at whatever happens. Like, however it ends, aside from like a Grasso guillotine or something, like a Grasso triangle. Like,
Again, the momentum shifts in these fights, the last 2 fights between these guys have just been ridiculous. Just when you think Valentina is going on a run and just looks untouchable, Grasso gets the finish. Grasso knocks her down. When you think Alexa Grasso is picking up speed and looking like she's about to take over this fight, Shevchenko looks to counter something and gets this fight to the ground. So again, this is so close, man. You really can't go wrong here. I don't like. It's a tough fight to pick, but I just gotta leave my girl. Like I've never went against Grasso in her last, I don't know, since her fight with Amanda Marcos. So I'm gonna take the champ, man.
Karen Alexa Grasso Montez.
And it's just that easy to kind of lean that way because she's one of my favorite fighters.
Hey man, look,
it's that.
If you think I ain't out here picking with my heart a lot of the times too, all right, like that's a part of this. Let's be real, like that's a part of this. And again, it's not to say that it can't flip flop 25 more times between now and when Bruce Buffer is announcing Alexa Grasso, But for now, you say you riding with Grasso, I'm riding with Grasso.
The belt stays in Mexico.
Jalisco.
Now to get into one of the more stressful fights I've been thinking about all week.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
I can't wait to hear this one.
kind of getting me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Ooh.
Especially today. Like it's kind of just messing with my mental a little bit.
Let's go. Get it off your chest.
In the main event, we have Sean O'Malley defending his belt against Merab Dvalishvili. The machine.
The McLean. Let's go.
I don't even think he's 5'6", but it says right here he's 5'6". The 5'6" machine. This man is just a tank. But listen, for as much times as he's getting takedowns and ragdolling people, this man gets knocked down in almost all of his fights. This man's been chinned. Yes, he's fought in some strikers and he's had success to where he's not getting chinned, but Marlon
Moraes left hand?
Marlon Moraes, who was on a losing streak, almost got Merab out of here. Maybe it's not going to be so difficult picking a winner for this fight. I have to say that. But like, yes, the highlights of Merab are just living through people's minds, and he just doesn't stop. He's a machine. But what happens when the machine runs out of power? You know. Yeah, he did what he did to Cejudo. Come on now.
Hey, what have I been on this pod saying the last couple main events? Look at the schedules of these guys, man. Look at who they're fighting. Look at when they're fighting them.
The names are one thing, but where they are at in their careers is a whole different conversation. Cejudo was just thinking about coming out of retirement, and he did for this fight against Merab. And yeah, he racked him for 15 minutes. Like
Merab was playing with him. He was toying with his food.
The man who decided to stop eating and getting off his couch to come out and fight again got ragdolled. Okay, well, I think that was supposed to happen. Again, Peter Yan, who was in a slump in 2023, got ragdolled.
Yep.
Jose Aldo, I know Aldo gets a lot of love, but Aldo in 2022, ragdoll for 15 minutes, of course.
Aldo, who's also like coming out of retirement as well. Like this is, yeah, let's dig in. Dig into the schedule.
2021 against Marlon Moraes. Yeah, he won by TKO. But what happened in that first round? Moraes almost knocked Merab out.
Left.
Yes, we can give props to Merab surviving and fighting his way back. That's all great. But come on now, you almost got finished by someone who was on a losing streak of getting knocked out, and Marlon Moraes, a favorable matchup against Cody Stamann, who Stamann is just he's there to wrestle with you, and that just plays into Merab's whole game plan. And John Dodson, I'm going to stop there, okay? John Dodson in 2020, what is this, 2013 or something? Come on now.
The Magic Man.
Don't give me this.
This ain't the Ultimate Fighter anymore, bro.
Exactly. You ain't fighting Dennis Bermudez, bro. Again, Merab has had favorable matches, and when he fights a striker, like a Marlon Moraes, he almost got knocked out. And now you're deciding to face one of the most cleaner counter strikers in this division, maybe in the UFC. The Sugar Show, yes, the striking is beautiful, right? He makes it look easy. But what I want to talk about with O'Malley is this ground game that has been talked about for years. And I think he kind of wants to show off the jiu-jitsu and the ground game, what he can do on the mat. He has a great coach. He has competed in jiu-jitsu tournaments, which he's winning. So I think O'Malley's going to show out kind of everywhere in this fight, however long it lasts, that he is an all-around fighter. And I think he's going to show, especially with the long limbs that he has at 135, I think this kind of plays into him kind of maneuvering around Merab on the ground and maybe getting some reversals with just how long his limbs are. It could play into that, creating some interesting scrambles on the ground if it does go to the ground. But I'm not sleeping. I'm really curious to see what Sean O'Malley looks like on the ground when it gets to the scrambles and stuff like that. Because again, Merab doesn't have the submissions. He's just there to lay on you, wear you out, make you wear his full body weight, just jumping on you, using the wrestling. So he's not there to get you to the ground and submit you. So
it's like you were talking about with the Aldana fight earlier.
yeah,
Like you're getting to the ground, but you're just a wet blanket, essentially. You're not advancing, you're not attacking, you're just there.
and part of the one thing that concerns me about O'Malley in this fight is the cardio. In some 15-minute fights, 3-round fights, he kind of does look like he slows down in the third round. I'm not too sure of it, but it could be worrisome. But he looked good in that Marlon Vera fight for all 25 minutes. I thought this fight was a little bit going to be harder to pick before breaking down this fight. But kind of going through the resume of Merab kind of just made me realize, like, yeah, this guy's a machine, but he's kind of been given the right people. And when he gets to when he gets to strikers, he's been knocked out, or he's fighting people who are kind of past their prime and looking for the retirement strikers. So give me the champ to retain his belt, Sugar Sean O'Malley. I'm going to take him by knockout.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think the machine finally takes a day off and gets the rest.
So something that was brought to my attention about both of these fighters, and I'm glad you mentioned part of it. So with Merab, O'Malley knows exactly what he has to prepare for. He knows exactly what's coming. There's not going to be this new version of Merab that shows up that's a kickboxer or that is out here trying to throw hands with you or something. Like, he knows Merab's going to put his head down. He's going to go first. He's going to shoot. And then he's going to shoot again. And he's going to shoot again and again and again. I believe he shot 50 times in the Yan fight, which is nuts.
That is.
O'Malley and his team know this. I believe O'Malley has a very well coached team as well. Just from what I've seen in fight, watching and listening between rounds. Merab doesn't have any clue what he's getting into here because he's familiar with the striking, right? He's not even familiar with the distance, even if Aljo's been in the cage and can give him pointers, because they're not the same. And it's different being in there with that kind of length, with that kind of distance, and someone who can keep a good distance from you to keep you from those shots. So then what's your plan B? I don't think Merab has a plan B. If O'Malley is striking and it's working, then bet. But if O'Malley, if that's not working and he gets taken down and Merab gets inside of that and takes him down, I believe O'Malley has a plan B in his jiu-jitsu, in his ground game that, like you mentioned, I think he kind of can't wait to show off. I think he's going to take advantage of I'm about to show my ass out here and become, I know y'all have been crushing this card. I know there's not a Mexican in sight in the main event, which is hilarious. It's a freaking Irish white kid and a Georgian. All right. I think there's been a lot of questioning lately for some reason out of nowhere, whether or not O'Malley's a star. I think this is going to be a huge coming out part. And because, I understand where that's coming from. It's coming from the pay-per-view sales. It's coming from the sales of the Sphere, which has nothing to do with O'Malley. That's got more to do with Dana, with the promotion, with Canelo, with the date, with the pricing. There's so many other factors that have nothing to do with Sean O'Malley. I think O'Malley goes out there. I think he puts on a show. I don't think it goes past like the third.
Ooh. Oof.
I think he's gonna come out here and smoke Merab's boots. If he doesn't knock him out, I think he shows his ass on the ground. He finishes with something real slick, calls out Ilya, and is done with it. Or he continues this thing, which I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'd love to see him fight Henry Cejudo, just because I'd love to see him absolutely retire
I would love that
Henry
too.
Cejudo. But I honestly like that's I wanted to hear what you had to say, because as we talked about before, like you could make an argument. Somebody could make an argument for Merab.
Absolutely.
And I would be like, you know what? That makes total sense. I could see the fight going that way. That's different than what we talked about with the last fight with Grasso and where was Shevchenko. You argue me on that, I'm more liable to be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna ride with you on that. I'm with you. You can tell me whatever you want. I think O'Malley's a superstar. I think he's legit, maybe the most special champion that the UFC has right now, from a combination of talent, charisma, just being an absolute star. I think he's at the top of the list, and that this is going to be there's a reason he's the main event.
Yeah.
I'll just say that there's a reason he's the main event, and it's not one of the other champs.
Just three things on this, and I think Connor has set the bar so high of what a star is supposed to look like, with just being a loudmouth and
Acting like a jackass.
acting like a jackass and showing out and ending fights in one punch or one round. Like Connor set a bar high, and it's kind of where the UFC he took the UFC to another space as far as stars go in the sport. O'Malley kind of has a different personality, and I think he doesn't really like to show it in front of a crowd of people. And I think that kind of plays into the generation nowadays of them just kind of be timid in front of the camera when they have to speak in the press, and there's a billion people watching you talk. Yeah, he's not going to really show it, but he does it on his Instagram. Making funny videos.
He's great on social.
Clowning Merab. Like that's where his
even on the podcast with Usman and Cejudo.
Yeah, that's where his kind of personality.
He lets the personality come out. Yeah,
it's so easy for him when he's at his home and comfort levels high
with his daughter and with his girl.
Something else I want to touch on is his fight with Aljo. He defended a takedown against Aljo, and he kind of did it a little easy. And when you compare Aljo and Merab, I think Aljo's a bit more, not a bit more, but he's a lot more technical wrestler. He really is a patient and really wants to shoot. Merab is just going to stand 15 feet away from you and shoot from the other side of the cage. If he gets it, he gets it. But if he doesn't, he doesn't. He's going to keep on shooting from the other side of the octagon. Kind of just a relentless, thought out the window type fighter, type relentless pitbull Merab is. So again, O'Malley knows what he's dealing with here. Maybe he has a knee waiting for Merab up the middle. And again, O'Malley has spoken about his jiu-jitsu on Joe Rogan podcast, I believe.
I mean, he's decorated.
Yeah,
like competitions and everything.
And I think that's the thing that people don't see, because jiu-jitsu tournaments are just not really big like that, or people are not really going to tune in unless you're like
not mainstream wide
BJJ head.
Yeah.
But he's in these tournaments and he's winning and he looks great. So I can't wait for people to, or even us, to see what it looks like in the octagon. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you, man. I think O'Malley kind of makes it look easy, man. Again, and that just the question mark of what does the ground game look like for Sean O'Malley just has my curiosity high, yes, but kind of has me excited. I hope we do get to see it on Saturday. So the champ keeps the belt, and
you know what, you mentioned something too that I forgot to mention, that you said Merab's gonna come from across the cage and he's just gonna charge, right? One thing watching, and not that I've broken down all kinds of tape or anything like that, but just in watching casually and watching back some of his fights, this man's head movement, non-existent.
No.
He comes on an absolute straight line. That's so, I mean, look at how did O'Malley beat Aljo? Aljo reaching on a straight line, O'Malley bings him. Like that's, I could absolutely see something like that happening too. Honestly, early too. I can see it being real quick on this one.
I think Merab hits the ground like 3 times in this fight. And depending on who the ref is in this fight, if it's Herb Dean, yeah, he's gonna let Merab. He's gonna give Merab all the chances, and I think O'Malley's gonna put him right back down.
If there's one thing about Herb Dean, he gonna let you get your ass whooped.
I bet all the fighters love when Herb Dean is in there because they know they're gonna get a chance to fight back.
Especially if you got beef with somebody too. You're like, oh, I'm about to get in a couple extra licks on this dude. I know Herb.
One thing I want to float out here though, before we close up, and I give my final picks. A fight against, now I hope this doesn't happen, but if Max Holloway does beat Ilia Topuria, which I don't think it will happen, but I you never know. If Max beats Ilia and we get an O'Malley versus Max at 145, that is a fight that will do some heavy selling right there. I love that fight.
Can I tell you? I don't think he fights Max. I think if Max wins, I think he fights Figgy because he mentioned Figgy in the press conference today.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
So they asked him about Umar, and he said he said that he first of all he trolled Merab. He goes, I think Umar deserves a shot more than Merab does, and he was like, I'm only saying that because I know Merab's going to get really mad at seeing it. But he said he thinks that he thinks Figgy. He said he thinks potentially. He didn't even mention Max, and then he went to Figgy, which Figgy's put in work.
He has,
and he but that fight doesn't excite me either.
No,
I think Figgy. This is going to sound crazy too. I think Figgy gives him a better fight than Merab does. But
that's not crazy at all, dude.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. See, but he said he doesn't have interest in fighting Umar, and he said he doesn't really deserve a shot next. But I think that if Max wins, I think he's like, all right, I'll fight Figgy then, and I'll just wait for, if it's a close fight, the rematch between Max and Ilia, or I'll just wait for whatever to blow through, and I could just sit down here at 35 and keep sniping people and building up a legacy, and it's nothing.
I would like to see a champion at 135 kind of run through this class of bantamweights. Dominic Cruz gets a lot of love for being the bantamweight GOAT, which rightfully so. But I really want to see someone like O'Malley run through this tough division at 135. Kind of just take down the hot prospects, the hot contenders.
Really clean them out.
Clean them out, man. I need
old school style.
I'm tired of these damn double champs. Like everyone defends the belt once and they want a double champ fight. Like, bro, can we get back to the old days where you had to work for that shit?
You know, someone actually brought up a great point on Twitter on one of those like threads, like if you could change any MMA rule, like somebody said you should, if you win the belt in your division, you should have to defend it 4 times before challenging for another belt. That's beautiful.
Whoever tweeted that, hey, we love it.
That's beautiful. Like that is perfect.
A certain amount of title defenses. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with you. Like, yeah, because when's the last time we really we haven't, since Dom, we haven't really seen. I mean, I guess Aljo had the defenses, but Aljo's not memorable.
Again,
and he won it controversially too.
So there's a lot of controversial stuff in Aljo's run.
Even like, yeah, so he gets vastly overlooked. Dillashaw?
I think that's more arguable than
Cruz, Dillashaw.
Because for Dillashaw to beat Barao, who was Barao.
Well, that's what I was bringing up next. Was
Barao was, you guys don't know.
Will you please tell these goofy ass new MMA fans who've never even heard of Renan Barão. Like, yo, Barão?
Barão was ranked
Nasty.
pound for pound #1 fighter
Yeah,
until TJ Dillashaw
when
came
Dillashaw, sorry,
around.
TJ Dillashaw, that's one of the biggest pops I've ever had watching a fight. And
Nice.
if you mention it to kids now, they'll be like, well, yeah, it was TJ Dillashaw. And that's if they even still know TJ Dillashaw. They think of him as a podcaster now.
Yeah, they hear TJ Dillashaw and it's like, oh yeah, he's the guy that like
The guy that Aljo was scared to finish.
and Cejudo beat at 125.
No.
Like, come on, guys.
Like Uriah, no belt, but he could have been. Garbrandt looked like he was going to be that.
Hey, shout out WC.
Oh man, without y'all.
Faber at WC was nice, man.
But yeah, I mean,
the whole promotion at WC, you guys brought a whole bunch of talent to the UFC.
Those lighter weights, man. They were the ones. Them in Japan were doing those lighter weights. But yeah, I mean, if he wants to, there's no reason that O'Malley can't and shouldn't be able to go on a run. And at the end of it, people are like, yeah, that's easily the best to ever do it at 35, period. Mm-hmm. Like, all respect to Cruz and all that, but O'Malley, he passed you.
All right, man. I'm gonna give my final picks for UFC 306 Noche going down this Saturday. To start from the bottom and work our way to the main event. My picks are Rosas Jr., Joshua Van, Yasmin Jauregui, Manuel Torres, Irene Aldana, Ronaldo Rodriguez, Esteban Ribovics, underdog number 1, Brian Ortega, underdog number 2, Alexa Grasso, and still, and then to end the Noche, we have Sean O'Malley winning, and still, baby. This was a great breakdown. I really enjoyed this breakdown. Glad we can give our thoughts on this. I know I missed last week's recap and breakdown video, but your boy was sick, and I didn't feel like doing anything, to be honest with you. Yeah, I was lazy. But if you guys want the picks, I posted on my Twitter. So follow that. It's going to be in the description. So follow my social media. So the Instagram and the Twitter will be in the description below.
Make sure y'all check it on Saturdays before the fight starts, just like your boy does, because I know you sitting there trying to figure out who you gonna bet on and what you gonna bet. If you ain't got the podcast to listen to or to watch or anything like that, then hey man, get on the boy's socials. He posts it, he gives you the circles, he gives you his dogs in the blue. Like, my man sets it up perfectly for you, and he's giving you money every single weekend.
And I'm usually good with the underdogs. But just to give you guys who are new here, just a recap of the year so far, we have 219 fights right and 138 wrong. So the numbers are there, guys.
If you're just betting straight up on every fight, like,
you're making money.
You're making crazy money.
I know everyone's looking for the parlays, which I do good as well. But again, I'm averaging about like 3 fights wrong a card. So the money's there to be made with these picks.
Send this man a Christmas gift, y'all. Quit playing.
But thank you guys again. Thank you for checking out this breakdown of UFC 306. I believe we have an off week next week, and then we'll be right back here with another card. I don't know.
Yeah, we got some good ones coming up.
But October,
year though, Peloton season.
October is stacked with 2 pay-per-views in 1 month. And we got some fights, man.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for checking us out. Catch you guys on the next breakdown.